I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. So, let's get our bow ties and our fancy dresses on because we're continuing our prom night. You can wear the bow tie, I'll wear the dress.
Oh, you always look pretty in dresses.
I know. You know what they say. Easy access. Woo!
Like that air conditioning.
Yep. I'm not sure about the tool, though. I've never had a good time with the tool.
The tool can be tricky.
Yeah. And I always hate when I put on stockings. I always get a runt in them. It just pisses me off. I spend good money on stockings, and my hair gets matted in them. And I have a runt on the back, and I never know what shoes to wear.
Shoes are tricky, too.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if to open or pizzas and what handbag. I don't know. And then I have to get my hair done. And then my makeup. You got it easy. You only get to wear tux.
Yeah.
All right.
I know. You get makeup in your beard hair.
Oh,
you never
man.
get that washed out.
No.
Oh, it's awful.
Awful.
Awful. You got to get your nails
Oh, and
done.
then I got to get my hair tugged because those people are just ruthless. I mean, they might as well just put the kneecap in the back of your skull and just go.
I know. It's awful.
It's like Vikings doing hair. It's ridiculous. All right.
Well, you go to a Viking shop.
I think the Axes give it a dead giveaway, though. Yeah.
See, if you don't get drunk before you go, then maybe you'd remember things.
But I can't help it. They have kegs right there. And horns. How are you supposed to pass that up?
I don't know. It's your tempting.
I don't know. Then we sing songs about our ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brotherly love.
There it is.
Okay.
All right, so what are we drinking tonight? We're drinking a slew of different things.
Excuse me. I got a Cider Boys hard cider.
Is it Zinberry?
It's apple and boysenberry.
And it's called Zinberry. What do you think about it?
Zinberry. It basically tastes like juice.
So it's a panty ripper.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a female in your life...
Unfortunately, wheat is not my friend, and the beer that we have at the moment is very heavily with the wheat.
So...
It does taste good, but my stomach is going to say it's bad, bad, bad.
So I am getting into the mood, I guess, of summer because 40 some odd degrees and snow in some other areas gets you ready for summer, but my mind says it's almost summer. I am drinking Shock Top, the Ruby Fresh Grapefruit, and I'm not a big fan of Shock Top or fruity beers, but this one is a great balance. There's one other beer that I really liked, and it was I think Leinenkugel does one, and it was really good. And then Newcastle does a blonde bombshell, which is a grapefruit.
Yeah.
And I really like those. And I love heavy beers, but I cannot drink heavy beers in the summer.
Not in the heat, no.
And then I'm also drinking Best Damn Sweet Tea.
It's awful.
And we live in the South. And sweet tea is a thing down here.
Yes, dear, because my heavy Southern accent doesn't give that away.
No, I get that. But what I'm trying to say, though, this is really not good. And
yes, Best Damn Sweet Tea. You heard it from a Southerner. It's not good. Not good.
I think it's the fermentation with the sugar and whatever they use. If you're going to do, I would suggest make your own sweet tea. And
add your favorite liquor.
And I suggest one of my favorite liquors for a sweet tea type beverage is called Jeremiah Weed. And I think they have a sweet tea variant. They have another one. They have several different variants, I think, now. And I really do enjoy that. It's a really great... It's a smooth alcohol. And I first got introduced in it when it first came out. So... we're not sponsored by any of these companies.
I don't know, but Best Damn Sweet Tea. I've tried Best Damn Root Beer, and I thought it was really good. That's why, we get the 6-pack to just try new things. And I often get these ciders to try just because I'm not really supposed to be drinking alcohol.
Well, and
it's got less alcohol content than a lot of things
not
do.
just that, but it's also becoming that hot season. And alcohol is really bad for you in summer because you're dehydrated, and then alcohol dehydrates you even more.
Well, I'm like the less dehydrated person ever
I
because
know.
we have a
Pitcher.
big water basin that has 3 gallons of water that we keep at all times, and I probably drink half of that a day. Plus, I have a great big 2-quart smoothie every day, and the only thing I drink that's dehydrating ever is the 1 cup of coffee I have, and I don't even have that every single day. So.
But like if you're, but a lot of people don't realize that when they're out and about, because this is the big time of year for us to go camping and stuff like that, and we always sling back alcohol. But even at night, but people don't realize that you got to be really careful, no matter what the alcohol content is.
Right.
And that's how people get in trouble with dehydration and stuff, is that they drink too much and not enough water. And they push themselves. Okay. So
Anyway, we didn't mean to go on that tangent, but the purpose of it is alcohol and carbonated beverages, caffeinated beverages can be very dehydrating. So make sure you drink water.
and listen to our podcast.
So anyway, that is our tidbit of information for the day. And our movie. We are still on the topic of High School Dance Till You Die, and this is movie number 2 in the series. And this is Freaks of Nature.
2015.
And you can find this movie on YouTube. That's correct, right?
No, this is from our personal collection.
Yes, but you can also find it on YouTube.
I think you can find anything on YouTube, but you can also find things on the internet if you just type it in.
I'm going to double check that. I'm going to double check that because I hate to tell people incorrectly, but...
You can also rent it off Amazon Prime.
No, it is not on Prime.
No, you can rent it on Amazon, though, or buy it.
You can probably buy it on Amazon.
That's what I meant. They also have a rent thing, which I don't understand. It's like, why rent?
This isn't one of those really like awful B-rated movies like we typically do, but it goes along with the theme, and it is one of those lesser well-known movies, which I kind of hate because it's a really good one.
It has a lot of really good actors. Actually, I don't know. One of my favorite Disney movies is Sky High. Yeah, you could buy it on YouTube for like $2.99 if you really want to. I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can watch it. Yeah, you can watch it.
Anyway, there are
ways to do it online.
You can watch it on YouTube and you can purchase it. Anyway,
it's not hard to find.
I wish there was a free outlet to where you guys can watch it, but for this movie, that's just not. Yeah. It's not available. I apologize, but
we have to do this on occasion of.
Unfortunately, it's just not one of those to where it's available.
Yeah.
It is rated R. It's 1 hour and 32 minutes long, and IMDb gives it a 5.9 out of 10. It is a comedy, horror, sci-fi. I didn't do everything for the last movie. That's my bad. There actually was a different title for the movie. The working title for it was The Kitchen Sink. Interesting. The director for this film is Robbie Rickering. The writer is Oren Utzel. I hope I said that right. The cast is Nicholas Brown plays Dag. Mackenzie Davis plays Petra. Josh Fadum plays Ned. Dennis Leary plays Rick Wilson.
Or just Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary plays Dennis Leary. No matter what his name is, it's always Dennis Leary.
Okay. Ed Westwick plays Millen Pinich. Vanessa Hudgens plays Lorelai. I hate that name. I don't hate it. I just don't like the way it's spelled. It irritates me the way they spell it. Keegan Michael Key plays Mr. Keller. Bob Odenkirk plays Shooter Parker. Joan Cusack plays Peg Parker. And the full list is on IMDb. The locations for this film were Los Angeles, California, and Vancouver. It was filmed in 37 days. And in LA, it was Santa Clarita, Temple City, Van Nuys High School in LA. In Vancouver, it was Stevenson, Metrotown Mall, and A.R. McNeil Secondary School. The budget for the film was $33 million. And the box office, I guess on opening night, it...
advertised. I don't really remember. This was more of a, I saw it, cool. You know, like, this is my style. This is not, you know, I just like these type of movies. It's just, it had, you know, I just don't remember anything about it. So, I don't know if it was like a direct to VOD or it had a limited release or what.
I don't remember doing this for the previous film. And the synopsis for the film is, in the town of Dilford, humans, vampires, and zombies were all living in peace until the alien apocalypse have to team up to figure out how to get rid of the visitors.
Is it apocalypse?
It's apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
The apocalypse. The apocalypse is coming.
Watch out, it's the apocalypse.
The apocalypse is gonna get you.
Now, what exactly is an apocalypse? I'm just trying to visualize what...
I don't know, but it's bad. You don't want it to happen. The apocalypse.
I think it's something to do like Britney Spears and a lot of pop stuff going on and bubblegum
it's
colors.
A bad thing. You don't want
it's
it to
a bad thing. Alright.
So the movie starts with a whole bunch of screaming and the view of an idyllic small town square. And you see the town water tower in the background.
And the sign that says, "Welcome to Milford, home of the Riblet."
Welcome to Dilford.
Dilford.
Home of the Riblet. And it has a picture of this ribs, cartoonish ribs. It has a little smiley face on it and everything. It's got arms and legs on the sign. It's like, okay. You hear all the screaming.
And explosions and...
During a time in their lives when life is hard, these students are facing more struggles. Humans, vampires, zombies, and werewolves live together and make this town a unique place. Dilford is home of the Riblet. Ned gets fed up with his family. What? I don't know. I jumped. Never mind.
Well, that was a very romantic way of writing about this movie.
Yes.
Very
I'm
Jane
cool like
Austen-y.
I'm cool like that. So there's 3 main characters that run the entire length of this film. There's Ned, and he's the brainiac of the film. He has a brother who his parents pretty much dote upon because he's very athletic, and his dad was a football player too. So his dad pretty much dotes upon Junior and his future. And so Ned gets tired of the fact that everything's about Junior. Ned decides, I'm done. I'm tired of it. So he goes over to where the zombies are, because the zombies are kind of sectioned off on their own part of town away from everybody else. I mean, they do go to the same school and everything. But as far as living quarters go, they have their own little section of town where they're kind of zoned off from everybody else.
Yeah, it's a color-free zone. Because zombies, when they go out in public, have to wear like a collar so they don't eat people.
Yeah, like a shock collar to where
Yeah.
if they go to try to bite people, it kind of, you know. So he goes over to the zombie part of town and he talks to this girl that he goes to school with that he's friends with. And he tells her that he has a brain in his foot.
It's a brain foot.
That he put the brain there just for her. Because she's like, I don't want a foot. I don't eat feet, I eat brains. And he said, I put a brain in my foot just for you.
Well, the reason is because, like, he just wants to, like, just give up, basically. His dad is just like, he's like, I want to go to school. And he's like, we can't afford it, you know. Dag hit him in his brother in the head with a baseball.
Right.
And
His brother got hurt during a baseball game.
it was a practice.
Right. His brother got hurt. His brother had a scholarship. So his dad said, you know, to pay for the hospital bills, and just so they could basically financially survive, he was going to have to come and help him at the car lot. So basically, he's not going to get to go to school. He's not going to get to do what he wanted to do for his future. Everything's about his brother.
Well, yeah, and then his dad even goes, you know, he was like, oh, well, I want to be an engineer. And his dad was like, well, you're stupid because nobody rides in trains anymore. And it's like, how stupid do you need to be? So he's under this constant stress of, like, his mom going on, well, you should work in the riblet factory. I worked 10 years on the
ammonia hose,
and I don't regret anything.
Any of it.
Yeah,
I don't regret a minute of it.
You
And
know,
he's like, I don't want to work the ammonia hose, Mom.
And then he's like, do you understand? He's trying to go through. He's like, do you know what's in these riblets? And, you know, and they're like, what, little mini riblets? It's just this weird.
He's trying to explain to everybody that there's this chemical in the riblets that it causes cancer and all this other stuff. And the reason why he himself...
Swell tongue. It creates
Puff tongue.
Puff tongue.
The reason why he himself does not eat the riblets is because he is allergic to that particular chemical. And he has a reaction to it. Anyway...
And he gets a puffy tongue. It's not pleasant.
Anyway, so since he would not be able to pursue his future and be able to be the person that he wants to be ultimately, then he decided that, screw it, I'm just going to throw away any future since I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. So he got his zombie friend to bite him and turn him into a zombie.
Well, I think he had a crush on her. I mean, it was like forbidden zombie Romeo and Juliet that turned into just zombie.
So Petra was this really kind of shy, timid, sweet girl who, she was human, and she kind of fell for this bad boy vampire, and he made her think that he had never turned another girl, and he thought she was just this really unique and interesting girl, and he wanted to be with her forever, and that's why he wanted to turn her, and they were just going to be together for eternity, and yada yada yada. And so he talked her into letting him bite her, and then never called her, never contacted her again. So a couple days later, she sees him with another girl, and she's like, what's up? And he basically tells her, I couldn't resist myself. Your pale skin and those veins just pop out, and, you know, you're just too irresistible.
Basically, he just looked at her as like a buffet. It was
Right.
like, you are like a top prime rib right now. It's just like,
You're just like the perfect blood buffet.
yeah.
And
Blood buffet!
so she raged and went to hit him, and he slung her up against a car. And then he was like, well, look at it this way. You're not hurt. And I was like, what a douchebag.
Yeah. And then she's also like trying to be like, I'm not a vampire. She was getting hungry. She tried several things. She had to run to the store, get herself a blood pack,
Yeah.
and it was just like, and then one of, I guess, a person who knew her was like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be like that," like.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you were a vampire.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And then you got Dag.
And then there's Dag.
He was not an angry cartoon woodchuck.
So Dag,
He's a tall.
he looks like a human on the outside, but then you find out much later in the movie that he is actually a werewolf.
But he's a tall, lanky mofo.
Yeah, he is like probably well over 6 foot tall, and he has very long arms and very long legs, and his whole body is just like over exaggerated lengthwise.
And he's really good at throwing, but is crap under pressure.
Right. He is the softball team's
I think
pitcher?
Baseball. Softball is usually female.
I'm sorry, baseball team's pitcher. And so the whole town is running amok because the aliens ship has basically, it's hovering over the town, so the whole town is kind of running amok trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And everything's come to a head. All of these things are going on at one time. Ned has gotten turned into a zombie.
Which he's like the only smart person that is knowing what's going on, and
Right.
he's fighting his own primitive.
Ned got turned to a zombie. Petra had gotten into that altercation with the guy that turned her.
And she's a vamp now.
And then Dag and Lorelai see all of these zombies, or all these vampires get slaughtered by one of their teachers from school because the humans think that the vampires think that the humans were working with the aliens to kill them. Everybody starts pitting against each other because they think the aliens are coming because of the humans. The vampires think that. When before, everybody had lived in harmony and everything was great and, there were no problems. Well, now everybody's running amok. So, Petra sees Lorelai walking down the street with Dag. It wasn't that so much that she was with Dag, it was just that she had just had the altercation with the guy that turned her. I apologize, I can't think of his name. I'll have to look back.
Douchebag vamp guy? Yeah. That's his name now. Douchebag vamp guy.
Yeah, he was not nice.
I don't think you have it written down. Douchebag vamp guy.
Yeah, I don't.
So henceforth, he shall be called douchebag vamp guy.
So,
Douchebag vamp guy.
sure. And Lorelai was the guy that Lorelai was the girl that he had been intimate with before he turned Petra.
Yes, but Lorelai was using Dag to hold her weed stash.
Right.
And then Dag had feelings for Lorelai, which she didn't until like the last. She really didn't have feelings for him. She just wanted a bone.
Right. Well, okay. So Lorelai told Dag, well, let's go to your house and get it on since, basically the world's coming to an end. That way you don't die a virgin. You know.
She's so nice. She's taking one for the team.
I know, right?
She's a sweetheart. From what Dag said, with a close shave.
Good to know. Mm-hmm. So Lorelai and Dag are running down the street. Petra just so happens to see them. She runs after. Now they're being chased by Petra and a horde of vampires. Mm-hmm. They run into this house. Now there's a horde of vampires after them in the house and a horde of zombies.
With aliens.
And a whole lot of fighting happens.
Blood. Blood everywhere.
Petra grabs Lorelai and bites her because she's not letting that go.
No.
She's gonna have her. The aliens come.
They started abducting everybody.
How did they end up in the bunker?
Okay, so the aliens started abducting everybody, and then they were so Petra, Dag, Ned were the last three. They were in the house where his piano teacher was, and he knows that there was a bunker underneath because it was his piano teacher. So he knocks on the door.
Right, they were in the house of the piano teacher, the house that they got into.
So he had to identify what he did when he was like 10 at a
The piano teacher's son. Okay,
Played
the
by-
piano teacher and her son were in the bunker.
played by Patton Oswalt. So
Right, and Dag was like, "Let us in. It's Dag." And he was like, "How do I know it's Dag? How do I know it's not an alien in Dag's skin?" And he said, he told him a couple things, and he goes, "Nope, still don't know. Tell me what you did at your recital in 1994. And he's like, "I crapped my pants." "Okay, what did I say?" "You said that was a lot of crap for somebody so small."
yeah, he was like, "Yep, that's him."
"Yep, that's him." So he opened the door. No sooner did they get in there, they said, "Okay, this is the ground rules. My mom's first in command, I'm second in command, Dag's third, then Petra, and then Ned, because,
Ned's a zombie.
Ned's a zombie and she's a bloodsucker, and, no sooner.
Because they're like, Dag, did you remember to lock the door behind you?
Right, Dag turned around to lock the door, and he came back. Ned was munching on the dude's mom, the piano teacher,
And Petra
was sucking the dude dry. And Dag was like, "What are you doing?"
And we're not talking in a porno way. We're talking about it in a blood way.
Dag was like, "What are you doing? You killed my piano teacher and her son." And they were like, "I'm sorry," as they're wiping their blood off their face.
I was hungry. It was like chicken nuggets. What can you say?
And Petra was like, "Dag, spit her brain out."
Yeah, just put the blood back in the veins and put the brains back in the skull. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything is gonna be okay.
Petra had to pick Dag up off the ground, off the old lady, and be like, "Dag, spit her brains out. Quit that." I'm like, he's done ate her. You might as well just let him finish. Dang, just let him finish.
So they all have a touching moment of,
We might as well just all stick together. We've done screwed up.
well, and I love how, so they all have a touching moment. He does bring up the dead people. They're in bags now. Chopped up and put in bags. And then they all had like, my parents, blah, 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 and stuff like that, Petra's parents were dead.
Yeah.
Those parents could care less about him. And
They realize that Ned gets more intelligent when it's a while since he's eaten. Like, he gets smarter. And Petra and Dag talk about how Dag and Ned used to be really good friends, but as the years have gone on, they've talked less and less. I guess because they're not in the same clique or group in high school. So they've kind of grown apart. They don't really spend as much time together. But she kind of explained, or he kind of explained to her how Ned doesn't really get along with his parents, and how, Junior is the chosen child, and how they really dote upon him, and yada, yada, yada. So they decided to go to the high school to get food and provisions
Because whenever I feel I'm in danger,
because, they know that the high school has blood stores and it has brains in a tin. And
They have-
it has human food. They know that that's the one place that has provisions for all three of them.
it has government provided brains.
Right.
So,
Which,
which leaves a lot of questions for me. Like, how are these brains? Okay,
it's probably just from cadavers.
probably, yeah.
And so they decided to do that. And then Dag is really concerned about his parents. So he wanted to go to his house and check and see if his parents are there and if they're safe and all that kind of stuff. So Dag takes off all of his clothes for Petra because when they go out in the sun, Petra basically starts screaming because, hello, she's like, I'm a vampire, I forgot.
Yeah, she forgot she was. So Dag takes off all his clothes and wraps her up, and they find out they run to the school. Dag doesn't, like, he gets sort of left behind as they were running, as him and Ned were running to the school. Her and Ned.
Right.
And then Dag shows up and they're like, how did you get here? And he goes, they didn't see me. So
He said it was weird. I was surrounded by aliens, but they acted like they didn't see me. And Ned sits there for a minute and he goes, you're dumb. He said, they didn't see you because they couldn't see you. He said, they don't see organic material. That's why they didn't see you. You're made of organic material, so they didn't see you. Because they didn't have clothes on. Most of your clothes, unless you're wearing like cottons, if you're wearing polyesters and things that are inorganic materials, that are man-made materials, they would be inorganic, then that's why they didn't see him. He wasn't wearing any more materials. So they eat and talk about some things. So he figures out that they can see inorganic materials. They eat and reminisce about the past.
yeah, like Ned was a hacker. He was a DOS hacker, and Dag thought that was the coolest thing ever when they were kids, and they were all sort of like. But as they got, and you sort of explained, like, what happened, like how he never had a chance type thing. So, I mean, it's a sad story. So it all comes together of like what happened between all of them, for the most part. With Petra was that they sort of had a soiree, but it was. And she got labeled a whore at best, and he got labeled as the titty whisperer, which I think is the stupidest name ever.
Well, they did one of those innocent things that kids do at parties, like
7 minutes.
play
in
the
heaven.
bottle game and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and 7 minutes in heaven in a closet, and nothing happened, but he said something innocent along the lines of he grazed her boob or something like that, and other boys took it as he got a handful, and she was labeled as easy,
Yeah.
and he was labeled as a stud, and unfortunately when you're labeled like that, that label sticks.
Especially in high school, because you're always
Well, it wasn't in high school, that was in junior high.
I mean, with your schoolmates, because you're going through you're going through all of the grades with that same group of people.
Right. And once you're labeled with something like that,
It's just yeah.
it travels. So, Petra is upset that everyone likes Lorelai, and she has such a stigma about her. She's giving this very negative. Everybody has a negative impression about her, and
Especially
looks
since,
at her like a slut, and she's a virgin. But Lorelai is the one that sluts around. But Lorelai is looked at as
well,
pure.
even now with Petra being a vampire, she's even looked more. It's like, oh, you're that type of girl type thing. It was like, yeah. So douchebag vampire guy said the reason why he turned her and not this was way back turned her instead of Lorelai was that Lorelai was nasty and had a body of a porn star.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Dag finds this in the school. They're all in the school. They're all like chilling, doing different things, and Dag goes into this old boiler room place, and Petra comes down there, and
He goes inside the old boiler. I'm not sure how he got in there because
well, there's like a hole. I mean, looked like a bomb went off in there.
She got in there, and he was kind of aggravated that she got in there because he wasn't quite sure how they were going to get out.
I thought that was a joke. I thought it was like, I know how to get... I'm sort of confused. So they started fooling around. So here brings the question of the podcast. Is having sex with a vampire necrophilia? Deep thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're the undead, right?
Yes. Necrophilia, by default, is the definition of having sex with a dead body.
But they're the undead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gray area.
Yeah.
Gray area.
Did you know that semen has more protein in it than blood does?
Interesting.
Yep. All right. Deep talk bit time over.
So Ned comes to find them. Petra kissed Dag's neck, and Dag thinks she tried to bite him. So she gets upset and jumps out of the boiler.
Ned's out there the entire time calling him a stud. Makes fun of him.
So Dag was like, "You could jump out the whole time?"
Which, again, I think it was a more of a jest, because why would you go into something if you didn't know how to get out of? It's not like you fell in.
Well,
I mean, he's tall and lanky.
Acted like he didn't know how to get out. But it was really funny because she jumps out and Ned says something and Dag was like, "Ned, how long have you been there?"
Well, I just still know you're a virgin.
And Ned was like, "Long enough to know you're a virgin still." And Dag was like, "Go away, Ned." And he was like, "You want me to get you some clean shorts before I leave?" They walk naked through town so the aliens can't see
Which
them.
is a great another Ned line. My dick's bigger.
And Dag's like, "You told me you wouldn't look. I lied." They get to Dag's house. His parents aren't there. They hear a TV come on in the basement. They go down there. An alien grabs Ned. Petra cuts up the alien with an axe. They think Ned is gone forever. They only have his glasses and some dust. They sit on the windowsill, collect the dust, and talk about Ned. They reminisce about the good times. As they finish their speech about Ned, Ned walks in the room, and Ned's like, "Well, y'all are being kindly sappy." He's like, "Well, Dag, I liked Petra's speech better than yours." Because Petra said, "Well, Ned was a good guy, and he had a big dick." As they finish their speech, Ned walks in the room. Ned realizes the aliens are there for the chemical in the riblets. An alien touches him, and he is allergic to the chemical. So he has a reaction to the place where the alien touched him. He actually showed this to Petra and Dag, and they
freaked out.
almost vomit at the sight of it. They're like, "Cover it up. We don't want to see it." And he's like, "No. Oh, you don't want to see this? This? You don't want to see it? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?"
It's a pretty bad outbreak.
He's like, My face has been basically melting for 2 days, and you have a problem with this? And they're like, put it away, put it away. They decide to go to the owner of the riblet factory, tell him all this information to get him to give the aliens the chemical. While they're there, Ned decides to feast on the secretary's brains.
Yeah.
Well, the owner is in love with his secretary. So
He doesn't love her.
That's
He
what
loves
he
parts
says.
of her. But again, there's a stating.
Well, the point is, he didn't take upon this too kindly. This didn't get him to do what needed to be done.
Well, but to get into there's the running joke again. This running joke. I hate this running. Again, they asked, before they got into the factory, they asked again over the intercom, what did you do when you were in the dunk tape? And he was like, I pooed myself. And
Yeah. At the county fair, what did you do in the dunk tank? I crapped my pants. That's him.
yeah, and it's like, so he craps himself a lot? It's just, okay.
He doesn't respond well under pressure.
Yeah, I get that.
He's got an open bowel problem.
Let's make a country song out of
You
it.
need to get your sphincter checked. Got an open bowel problem.
Da-da-da. All right.
Mama, I pooed my pants again.
No, you did it wrong. Mama, I pooed my pants.
Again.
It was in the tank. Mama.
Mama, I pooed my pants again. Okay. So,
There's a poo in my pants.
there's a boo in my pants. There's a boo in my pants. So they didn't get it accomplished through the owner, so they decide to go a different route. And they go up to one of the aliens and they just hit it.
Yeah.
All three of them. And the alien grabs them and ships them off to where everybody else is. So at least now they're with everybody else.
Well,
and
that
they
was-
can come up with a solution.
But that was the plan. It was like, where are they sending them to? So they find out that they're basically in an Ace Hardware or a PAL Hardware, whatever, some supermarket hardware store.
A big warehouse type store. I think it's not a Pathway, but it's like a Pals or
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, they're in the store, and the zombies, the vampires, and the humans are all three separated by some type of force field.
Yes, Captain. I do believe that is a force field.
Well, they all get up to the force field, and they try to talk to each other through the force field. And they tell Ned, think really hard, Ned, and try to find a way to break through this force field. And Ned gets this look on his face like he's straining to go poo, again with the poo.
Yep. In the pants.
And he thinks back to when he was younger and he did all his encrypting.
He did a DOS attack. Yeah. Where you overload the server.
Yeah. And that's what he realized they needed to do. They all needed to jump and touch the force fields all at the same time. Everybody.
Just to overload it. It was just, everybody needs to overload it simultaneously. That's
Right.
how you take it down.
So everybody argued, but then Dag talked to everybody and got everybody rallied together to where everybody on all sides would go and run at the force field at the same time.
Now, there are some really funny moments in this one. Like, I like the one that was like, oh, Miss blah, blah, blah. We know your son is not a real doctor. He's a zombie. And he takes off the mask and reveals that he's a zombie.
Right.
And
His
then-
face is all chewed up.
Yeah, and then Ned and his family come back together because they're all zombies now. So they're all brain dead zombies.
Yeah.
And
His dad's like holding one of his arms.
yeah,
Holding an arm that got chewed off with his
was
good
his-
arm, and he was like talking to him. He's
this is bowling arm. It was his bowling arm. Where are they? My bowling arm. My squeezing arm. And then Lorelai comes back, and she's got some smashing kahunkas there.
She's like, "Thanks for bodying me. My tits are bigger now." And Petra's like,
Great. And
Glad I could do that for you."
and then of course Dag and his family are back together, and let's just say Dag's parents have been hit the ganja a little too hard. So
Yeah. So yeah, everybody works together and the force field comes down. They go to the riblet factory and the alien follows. They talk to the owner of the riblet factory and everybody decides to give the alien the chemical that it came for.
yeah, and everybody's shocked when the chemical comes rolling out of the pipe, and it's like, what is that? And it's like, dumb. It's your riblets.
It looks like this big blobby gooey mess and everybody's like, ugh, that's what that crap is?
Well,
This
it was like I am assuming it has a huge stench, you know. Like everybody's like, "Oh, who farted?" You type, you know, like,
yeah.
like,
Everybody's like, that's nasty.
and so there's that, and yeah,
So the alien ship opens up and these little glittery looking tadpole things jump out.
well, out of the suits that they're
Yeah.
the alien suits.
They jump out, like 30 or 40 of them jump out into the vat of that chemical and they like swim around in it. And it's like they multiply to where they're just like this big puddle of shiny goo, and that's all that's left in the vat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it grows and grows until all it is this big giant alien.
We did not start the fire. And so this monster starts talking, and everybody's like, why is he talking in a German accent?
Right.
And he starts quoting "We Did Not Start the Fire" by Billy Joel.
Yeah, the alien starts lecturing them with a Billy Joel song.
And their understanding was Billy Joel was the common thread for everybody. Everybody agreed that they liked Billy Joel. Now, I have to admit, "We Didn't Start the Fire" is one of his better songs. But
That doesn't mean people want to hear it.
well, they don't want to be lectured by. Basically, they came here to ask for the riblet stuff, and you know that chemical, that was the biggest thing. And you know, us as humans, vampires and zombies, opened fired on them, and they just retaliated back. So
Right. Well, they weren't happy that, you know, for one, they came there asking for something, and then they have the nerve to start lecturing them. Mm-hmm. They give them what they wanted, and then they want to start lecturing them. Well, so the townspeople grab the ammonia hose, spray the ammonia hose at them, and realize they started shrinking. So Ned's mom mans the ammonia hose, and another person mans the ammonia hose and starts spraying the alien down until there's no ammonia to spray. And as you would say, whoever that vampire guy is,
douchebag. Mm-hmm. Douchebag vamp guy.
yeah, he got his undies in a twist because whenever Petra was reunited with the vampires, she had fed recently and he was asking her for some blood because he hadn't got to feed in a while.
Yeah, he was being all junky like.
And she said no because all he's ever done is take from her, and frankly, she got tired of giving. Well, he started hitting her and everything, and Dag wasn't having it. He wasn't going to have her be hit on by him. So Dag revolted back. And unluckily for him, it was a full moon. And
Yep, he turned into his first werewolf transformation and killed a douchebag vamp guy.
yep.
And then the aliens tried to drop a bomb. Ned caught it, making up for basically his childhood. Dag threw it back into the ship, and the ship blew up. So, and that's the end of the story. And, oh yeah, and then they decided to they're no longer the home of the Riblets. They're a home of the Veggie Riblet.
That's right.
So
they reformulated the riblet.
So that's the end of Freaks of Nature. Now, this movie is a really good movie. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. It has a great sense of humor. I mean, the humor. One of my favorite scenes is Michael Key, goes into one of his notorious tirades about
Mr. Keller, the teacher, Mr. Keller.
Yeah, he goes into one of his notorious tirades. I mean, the comedian, he does a lot of tirade type stuff. And he goes into, his tirade about blood and, if you're going to finish off the last of the blood, make a new cup. Don't eat the donut, all the donuts, for that scene alone, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then just this world of zombies, vampires, and humans is a very interesting concept. So, anything else you wanna? I really enjoyed this one,
It's a really good movie. It's one of our favorites. We've watched it many, many times.
and it does make fun of the horror genre without being in your face, making fun of the horror genre. It's a dark humor, but not. We're making fun of the horror genre. Do anything else? Say anything else?
I do have a trivia. It just wasn't in the right spot.
You didn't give your score.
What did you say?
4.5 out of 5.
I concur.
Okay.
Okay, the Freaks of Nature trivia. The zombie dad and mom that are eating the brains are Brian Peck and Beverly Randolph, who are famous for being in The Return of the Living Dead, 1985, in the roles of Scuzz and Tina. The screenplay for the film was featured in the 2010 Blacklist, a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. Number 3, after the zombies organize at about 32 minutes, a sign on the gate read, "Warning, zombie installation ahead. Persons risk death or reanimation beyond this point. Unauthorized entry is prohibited. This area has been declared a restricted zombie area in accordance with the issued directive by military directive, yeah. Commander on 10 December 2011. This installation is patrolled by military working dog teams."
Yeah, that worked.
Number 4. The wolf logo that can be seen on the wall of the gymnasium is the emblem of the UNM Lobos, University of New Mexico. Based on Dilford, a fictional town in Ohio. Number 6. Mae Whitman was also in Independence Day, which also deals with aliens.
And the ending is pretty much that too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, this is a really good film. I really do encourage everybody to watch it if you haven't seen it. It's one of those that you could actually watch multiple times and enjoy it every single time, because you will notice little nuances here and there the more you watch it.
Well, and it's also like a great movie if you have somebody in your life who doesn't like horror. It's horror enough for the horror person, but not horror enough to turn somebody off who doesn't like the horror genre.
Right.
And it's really funny.
It is funny.
I mean, I like most movies with Dennis Miller in it, because I just find his humor to be... I like his earlier stuff, but his character is always interesting. Is, like I said, he's always that character. No matter what, he's always Dennis Miller. Mm-hmm. He's always a loudmouth, egotistical, I'm the alpha male type character, no matter what he plays.
Yeah, he always plays that jerky kind of loudmouth, bossy person. Yeah.
So, I think that concludes this one.
Yep, that is number 2 in the High School Dance Till You Die series.
Really not a lot to deal with prom, though.
No, but it was high school related, so that's why we did it.
Yep. All right, so we'll see you next time.
Scare you later.
Bye.